All right, guys, I got to give you disclosure, okay? Right out of the gate, I came back from Vegas. Came back from Vegas this weekend, and I lost my voice. Do they call it laryngitis? Everyone used to talk too much, or maybe you screamed as a kid, but then you would lose your voice. This is the spot that I missed, so I got to talk a little bit softer. If I try to up my tone, nothing comes out of my mouth. Very weird sensation if you've never had. I've been warned about laryngitis since I was a little kid. Apparently, I talk loud as a kid. I remember teachers and parents telling me, you keep shouting, you're going to lose your voice. Yeah, apparently that's a real thing. So I've got to lower my voice. I have a lozenge in my mouth. So it obstructs anything that you're hearing. I just want to disclose to you guys what's going on. Now check this out. Ariel Helwani, Volkanovski. Now, I've been so impressed with Volkanovski. Sometimes I struggle to find words big enough to pay this man the compliments that I feel he needs. With that said, Volkanovski has a humbleness to him. He just does. I have a feeling if you're Volk's friends, he's the exact same guy now with a pocket full of money and a whole bunch of fame as he was before he ever stepped in the octagon. I have that feeling. One guy that makes Volk interesting. And he's not boring. He's not dull. I'm not going that far. But he doesn't always come out. He doesn't always have that bravado. He's not always brash enough. Sometimes when he says stuff, we don't know if he's locked in and he means this or it's just an idea he's considering. Ariel Helwani can get things out of Volkanovski, can get him in a comfort level and in a zone like nobody else. I watched Ariel and Volkanovski almost a year ago do a cooking segment. I have no idea where that came from, what the backstory was. It was awesome. But Ariel just spoke to Volk again about the backup position. Where are we at? And don't forget on this backup position, guys. Benny Darush came out and said, that's mine. Volk said, I want it. The Ultimate Fighting Championship said nothing. So we were all kind of left right there. There was room. It would be out of character for Volk, but there was room in our deductions and our own detective work that Volk was not the backup fighter, that he was just saying it, that he was just getting headlines. That's not the way he operates, but we had to consider that. Okay, Volk's given a real good clarity on this. Said his hand was in a cast 8 weeks ago. Now, we remember the reports that the media was doing to Volk talking about a hand injury. It was to the extent that the media wanted to interim the 145-pound belt between Rodriguez and Emmett. No clarification from Volk. Volk never said, I need a night off. We did this to him, and it turned out where there was smoke, there was a little bit of fire. He had his hand worked on. Great, that's a distant memory. When you work as hard as Volkanovski works, if you have 8 weeks full bore, and he does, that is behind him, it's a distant memory. He is as good, if not better, as the last time you saw him in there with Max Holloway. Now, Volk is saying that his team and himself, and they're boarded up and they're headed to Fight Island. They might even be there. I actually rewound this part of the interview 2 or 3 times and I was a little bit unclear. But I am willing to go as far as to tell you Volk is the backup fighter. What does that mean? Because again, I know what we think it means, but we also thought Volk going in and having a hand surgery meant that he wasn't going to return. Meant that we should find somebody else to fight for his belt, figure out what we're going to do in the meantime. Every time we try to guess, guys, we get it wrong. Nate Diaz is going to exhaust his contract to the UFC because he's got a big fight waiting for him with Jake Paul. We really don't know, do we? We a lot of times think we do, though. Now, what does backup fighter mean? All of us, myself included, would have told you a week ago that if anybody can't fight between Charles or Islam, and moreover and more likely, if anybody misses weight between Charles and Islam, Volk's in. I'm not positive I buy that. I think there's a real importance to getting Islam and Charles and getting that business behind us. I really do think that. And I think it affects a lot more than just a match that we want to see. A potential title opportunity is the current plan right now. I think it also affects the lineage and the legacy of Khabib. It is that important that we get resolution between Islam and Charles. Now, we could do it another night, sure. But why would we? They're here, they're trained, they're prepared. Cameras go live in 24 hours. Why would we do that? And you may have an answer because a guy missed weight. Well, how much did he miss by? Does an opponent have a problem with that? What if they both miss weight? Do we just walk Volk out there and there's no fight? I realize I'm being silly. I'm just sharing for you. I'm not fully convinced that Islam versus Charles and preserving that match is worth the cost and the expense of putting anybody else in there. Fine. But just Chael thinking out loud. I don't have resolution to that. Ariel asked Volk an interesting question. Ariel said, Volk, if you're going up to 55 and they've told you you're good enough to be the backup spot, is that them telling you that you're next? Is that them telling you that you won't be at 145 pounds in your next match? You will be at 155. And if so, are you only a 55 pounder now? And Volk said, no. Those promises have not been made. That is not my full understanding. I do not know if my next match will be at 45 or 55. Now, Volk's saying a lot in that, even if he's not trying. Volk is letting us know he didn't change his physiology. He didn't go and try to bulk up to be a 55 pounder. He's just going to go fight 55. He's not holding up anything at 45. He's not even guaranteeing that he's not going to go and report at 45. And it's not as though too much time has gone by between Volk's last fight. I mean, the way that you measure that is real simple. Volk's opponent in his last match. Has that guy had a match yet? In this case, it's Max Holloway. Has Max had a match yet? Is Max even scheduled for a match? If he hasn't and Volk hasn't, great, nothing's being held up. Did Emmett or Rodriguez get matches booked? No. One of them is the likely number one contender. So nothing is being held up. This is just in addition to. Volk is going to go out to Fight Island in addition to whatever else they'd like to see him do. I think if Volk would have really dug in here, I think that Ariel was setting him up in a beautiful way. I think if Volk's answer would have been different, we, the viewer, would have got behind it very quickly and made sure that his next fight was against the winner of Islam and Charles, but Volk didn't want to do it that way. And moreover, guys, why is Volk getting this opportunity? Why didn't they just grab Benny? Benny's there. Benny's got the ranking. Why fly Volk in? Why make him go through a training camp? Why pay him? Why do all of these things? Answer is real simple. The number one cultural policy of the UFC. If you guys ever have dreams and you're coming up and you want to interim over there, or you want to apply, or you want to work in the UFC someday, the number one cultural policy of that organization is do say. You do whatever you say you're going to do. That is the number one cultural belief from Dana on down. Dana went to a press conference. Somebody asked him about Volk going to 55. Dana said, and I quote, he can do whatever he wants. I don't think Dana meant that. I don't think that was Dana's plan. I don't think that was sincere. I don't think he knew that question was coming. He said it. And he honored it. And Volk said what he wanted to do was to be the backup fighter, be on Fight Island, and fill in if they need him. Boom. That's the position he found.